Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. We like to call this Monday Night Football. Apologies for being a little late today, starting 15 minutes late, but we'll make sure to get the hour in. So let's go ahead and get started right away. Hola a todos. Hola mis amigos. I'm Luis from FootMex Nation. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. And Neb, do we have a great show for you tonight? We'll be talking all about the friendlies that happened, the last FIFA friendlies, the last time for Juan Carlos Osorio to get the players ready for the World Cup. We'll be chatting about a little bit about El Tráfico, I would believe, right? Which I'm not down with that classical name.
Which Tráfico? Your Tráfico or
yeah, actually there's a lot of traffic. There was a lot of traffic. But let's go ahead and let's just start right away with big question of how did Mexico's international break impact your expectation for the World Cup? And we'll start with Mr. Cesar Hernandez there in the San Diego, Tijuana. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, after that first friendly, I would say I feel just slightly more confident, but everything just kind of went downhill after that second game, didn't it? I mean, I was pretty bummed out about 13, 20 minutes into it after Diego Reyes got that injury, and then of course, or not Reyes, but who was it? It was Araujo. Araujo first got the injury, and then Reyes got the injury, and then Salcedo got the injury, and then in Mexico allowed the goal, and then you're questioning the tax. Anywho, so after getting that little bit of a high after the first game, things really got a little sad of that second match. So I'm just gonna say that I feel about the same now. I think nothing has really changed too significantly. So I say I'm feeling about the same.
So, but it was same before the two friendlies, like high hopes, or what was the?
I mean, I thought that Mexico was going to get one win here. I didn't know who they're gonna get the win against. I mean, it was clearly got against Iceland. So I thought after that match maybe they could do something against Croatia. But of course, it was a slight reality check, I would say, after that match against Croatia. So I thought they were going to get that one win, and then I had maybe that slight high expectation after that first match, and then I kind of went back down, just feeling about the same.
Jason, how are you feeling getting ready for the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. But as far as my expectations for Mexico, I guess I feel about the same as well. I'd stick with Cesar there. I'm not as negative on that with that Croatia match. I left feeling okay about it, other than the injuries. The injuries are the thing, and
the injuries. You're the only person on Twitter who felt kind of like confident about it.
I'm just a beam of sunshine, really, and positive energy. So,
well, with the teams that you follow,
that's
Mexico
what
was the highlight of it all. That's tell you.
It's true.
That should tell you how happy all the teams that make you when you follow. When it's Cruz Azul and Liverpool, that when Mexico's.
That's like the best case scenario kind of match. Just like, hey, this could be a lot worse, guys.
I know for sure.
No, but I don't know. Like, I think the match was, a lot of experimentation. You had a mixed up midfield. You had a different formation, and like it didn't all look great, but it didn't look terrible either. I mean, it wasn't a complete disaster. The injuries were really a bummer, but on the bright side, all those injuries aren't as bad as expected. The Raul's injury, I expected the absolute worst when that went down, and it's not as bad as expected. So I'm feeling about the same. Worried about getting out of the group stage, to be honest, but I was before. So feeling about the same as I was prior to these two matches.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we would have gotten a win in Croatia, we would have been more confident. No.
I mean, I think it would have extended that good streak against. I'm not gonna say like top European sides, but just when you look back in November when Mexico had those friendlies, I think it would have been good for morale at the very least. I think you could say that it'd be good, but maybe I think you could also say the other side. Maybe this is good for Mexico. Maybe right ahead of the World Cup, you need something like this to kind of. I don't even know if just to wake them up, but just give them a little bit of reality check of what they're going to be dealing with. I mean, in the World Cup, and I mean, against Germany, I mean, that's going to be...
If anything, I feel less confident because of the injuries.
Yeah.
I know that everything's going to be okay, but having two players not play for a month before, a month and a half before the World Cup is not good. So give 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is, for their 100%, then you still got to get in rhythm when it comes to playing. So, and it kind of just made me think, wow, we were crying about Araujo. Araujo's great, but this World Cup year, one of our best defenders is Araujo, and we're gonna go against Germany. Possibly, you know, let's not even put Sweden and Korea, but then, you know, the next game.
Maybe it has less to do with just Araujo, more so just like, man, like our depth is pretty bad back there. It's recognizing that Araujo isn't the best option. It's not like, oh man, we love Araujo. It's recognizing that, oh man, if it's not Araujo or Araujo or Salcedo, then what do we do? What do we do? Ray, I mean, there's even been the conversation recently. What is Rafa Marquez said yesterday that like if Mexico needed him, that he'd be ready to go. That so he's just not counting it out just yet, and it's crazy because that is not the most. I don't know. I don't want him at the World Cup, but it's just not the craziest option if Araujo and let's say Salcedo aren't at 100%.
The only way I want Rafa there is just to get his like 5 cups. That's like the only cool thing about it. Other than that, if he didn't go to the last one, I'm like, sorry, you're not going. That's like the only reason why I don't want. I think it'd be cool to have that. But that just goes to show, like, I think Araujo is decent, and I think he's good. And we've said it many times. You know, I think it's one of Osorio's favorite players in the defense, almost even better than he's performed better than Moreno at times. But that just goes to show, like, you know, we were doomed if Araujo and Salcedo did not make it to the World Cup, which, again, I don't think they're going to be 100%. And hopefully everything goes okay. So injuries. So, yeah, so I feel a little less confident on the fact that I didn't really get a lot from this 2 games, you know, to give me a lot of confidence. What did we find out about these 2 games? We found out, again, that there's a lot of injuries. So if we count, I was trying to go through all the injuries right now.
I mean, would it be a national team call-up, though, without a bunch of injuries, right? I feel like that's just tradition at this point.
Osorio's tradition. Isn't Osorio like a physical trainer? Like, wasn't he like a physical trainer at one point?
Like he just needs to start working some leg muscles or something?
I don't know. He was all, but Gio, Jonah, Dam, which maybe he's not going, but
then you had Herrera, and then you had Tecatito. There were problems. Then you had Araujo, Reyes, Salcedo.
Well, hopefully we're just getting them all out of the way in March here. And
exactly, right?
The Wales and Scotland matches were just sail through clean. Right?
But that's the thing. Like, we're in April. You know, April, May, June. Like May and June. That's it.
Well, it's okay. According to a lot of people on Twitter, it's not the injuries that are a problem. It's Osorio. So if we fire him now, I mean, that's going to solve everything, right? I think at least according to a few people that I see online, they said, let's just fire him now. We'll bring in Piojo, and then everything will be. Then we'll win the title.
We'll get out of the group and lose against Brazil. No, obviously that's definitely not. But all right, Jason, what any responses on Twitter from the Mexican?
We have a bunch. So I put it up as a poll question, and we had 44% of the people said they feel about the same. 26% a little less confident, and 10% they feel more confident after those matches. 20% said they no longer feel things. All right, you can understand that a little bit. I also had a couple interesting responses from Melissa HR. She says it's going to be tough. I think they'll manage to come up with something that can top Noah Penal in terms of heartbreak. That's disappointing.
Oh, no.
I guess that's less confident qualified in that category. I guess Jay Rodriguez says, similar to what Cesar's saying, the theme on Twitter, we've seen 3 tournaments with Osorio now. We know what to expect. Prepare great for the first game. Next games, rotate players to where they lose all momentum, play terrible the next 2 games, somehow qualify to next round, and get humiliated in the next game. That is not a positive outlook for where Mexico is headed.
Man, such a dismal start to the show. I feel so sad right now.
I'm going to go with a prediction that it's funny that this is sad. Let's just keep going with the sadness. But I'm going to go with a prediction out there, and you can record it. I feel it's coming. We've gone away from it a while, but I think Mexico is going to get eliminated in penalty kicks. I don't know where, but I just
in the final.
If it's final,
I'll take it. I'm all right.
Final. If it's the 5th game, if it's the 6th round of 16, but you guys, and I'm what I mean about you guys is that many of you guys don't remember Mexico going out in penalty kicks. So when was the last time in a major tournament that Mexico went out in penalty kicks? I think maybe 2005.
Yeah,
It was the
I don't remember.
Copa America. But before that, it felt like we got killed. We got taken out ever since I was born. So when you were mentioning that, I go, man, and she said that, she said, it's going to be, we're going to top the Nora Penal, right? I was like, oh man, going out in penalties, it will top the Nora Penal in that sense. So that's kind of funny you said that, but maybe we won't win the World Cup. That's my prediction, but maybe we'll go to the final.
I think that's a safe prediction to say that Mexico is not going to win the World Cup. I think
penalty kicks. Remember that we're going to lose in penalty kicks.
Also, for those people in the chat who thought I was serious about firing Osorio and hiring Piojo, no, I was clearly joking. No way. No, I do not want that to happen.
Mexican fan channel is on the chat, and he says, or she, Almeida is our solution. So there we go. Cari Analysis Deportivo says, I only fear Germany. Honestly, they have the luxury to play whoever they want. A very attack-minded team and on and off the bench. Sadly, Mexico doesn't. I don't really fear Korea, maybe Sweden. Well, we'll see what happens. Thanks for joining us, Cari. But yeah, so
I would say really
friendlies.
I mean, if we feel bummed out, I mean, I've seen some response from like some South Korean reporters and also from like Swedish reporters. They feel pretty like, I don't know, unexcited about where their teams are headed as well after international break. So we're not alone feeling kind of about the international break, because nothing really substantial happened for South Korea or Sweden when it came to like positive results for them.
Well, actually, I think Mexico's the only team that won in the group. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because
first place in group, and in whatever group I forgot what group we're in. We're first place now, guys.
Carry an advantage in somehow. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
In the international break, I watched the Sweden game. I think they lost to Chile. Germany lost to Spain. Germany tied Brazil. Korea lost to somebody. I think Korea lost both games. And then Sweden also, I think we were tied. Yeah, I think Mexico's the only one that got against Iceland. I don't know. I just take it for what.
There we go. First place in the group.
First place. That's it. Well, I know a lot of people are saying, "Hey, Germany's got some work to do." I don't know.
Yeah, but like a 25% like healthy Germany is going to beat us 5-0 though.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, these two friendlies. What else can we talk about? Let's talk about who wants to see what Osorio doing that the linebacker 3. Let's talk about that with the interiores on the right side, that we don't have any players that can really do that. I don't know. And especially linemen in that. I really hope we don't have like a back line of 3 against Germany. That's just asking for what it is. But formation wise, Osorio keeps experimenting. And what we saw, everyone was like, what is happening with Edson? What was Layun doing? And then it didn't stop. I think he also did it in the second game. So as far as formation, it doesn't surprise you that the tests and the experiments keep coming. But at the same time, when we said Jason last week, it worked for him in Iceland, would have worked for him. I wanted to see if that Araujo injury. So let's talk formations.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was a lot of issues in that Croatia match with how Mexico set up. I think it's pretty clear to say, based on how that first half went, and the whole match in general, really, but especially that first half, the way Mexico was set up, that the formation wasn't ideal. And you can, it's tough to just isolate one of the issues, because you have a lot of things, coming together to make this like fruit salad of a hot mess for Mexico. And like, some of that is the players that are in there. Some of that is the formation. And some of that is just, it's a second friendly in so many days, and it is what it is. And the injuries, obviously. But I think it's safe to say that that formation we saw was definitely an issue. But for me, I don't think the issue really resides with a 3-man backline. Cesar and Tom hit on this in the Countdown to Russia podcast. Following up after the Croatia match. And I agree with the sentiment that was expressed there, in that I don't think the issue really resides with the 3-man backline. I think what the problem was what was happening in the midfield in front of that 3-man backline.
Agreed.
That's what it goes with it, though. That 3 back line with the 2 laterales that are not coming back and defending, going inside towards the middle.
when you look against Croatia, I mean, Burrito Hernandez, he's not going to be our defensive midfielder in the World Cup. And you look at some guys.
Who is?
I mean, it's probably going to be
No,
Reyes.
no one's
No defensive midfield. Everyone else is too short for Osorio's liking.
Burrito's not going to be there. Govea wasn't really doing much.
No.
Guardado was a little off, and I think you have to give Guardado the benefit of the doubt too, because I think he wasn't exactly fit. There's still questions whether he was healthy enough. I mean, early last week, no one really knew if he was going to get any minutes. So clearly, all three of those guys, they didn't really provide much to that back line. So that allowed a lot of space, a lot of like ease for Croatia to go through there, and to make it really difficult for Moreno, to make it really difficult for Ayala. And I'm still not exactly convinced by Ayala either. And then when you mix that in with the fact that, I mean, once again, Araujo, Reyes, and Salcedo, and then eventually you had Edson Alvarez right there, like 4 defenders playing the same position that all had to switch around. So I think that I think it makes sense a little bit why Mexico struggled, and I do think that my bigger problem, at least in the Croatia match, was in midfield. I think in the Iceland match, I do think that I'm a little bit more inclined to give more of the fault to maybe some of the mistakes back there in the back line. I mean, obviously Mexico got the win there; they got 3-0 victory, but I was still a little worried about the defense there. But I think, yeah, against Croatia, I do think that most of those problems there stem from the midfield.
Yeah, it was like, I have to say that after that injury, the whole team just kind of, they stopped.
Yeah, the mood. I mean,
the mood was kind of, I mean, even if you're watching it on TV or you were there, you just saw those players just kind of go, okay, we're done. We're not going to go 100%.
Or could you imagine like going into halftime and already seeing the injury to Araujo, and then Reyes like had those injury problems as well? Like how motivated could you really be after seeing those two players go out? And then especially in the second half after Salcedo went out, you would just think, you know what, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm not gonna go too crazy because I don't know what's happening here. If this like almost looks like there's bad luck in this stadium, because that was the same stadium that like Luis Montes had an injury like 4 years ago. So I know I can't imagine that how those players were feeling throughout that match.
I mean, there's some logic to that 3-man back line, because you think about just Mexico's talent base, and like we're always thinking about who's going to play those outside back positions, who's going to be at left back, who's going to be at right back, and we never really come up with an answer at right back. We usually plug in Layun at left back, but I mean, Layun is not without his faults, and he's not necessarily a lock and someone you're totally comfortable at left back at all times. So, I mean, it makes sense to try something else with that back line. I mean, we have the center backs that have a little bit of a flexibility in the way they play. There's some logic to it, but yeah, it didn't really work out in that match. I don't know if it's the answer going forward necessarily. But, Carlos Acedo with the injury, there's still some logic to it, because, again, who's the right back if you go back to that 4-man back line? I don't know.
And I don't want another. I think if you do have that 4-man back line, you have Layun as the left back, and then as the right back. I mean, because of how high up like Layun pushes, I do want someone more so like a Salcedo, just so it does kind of turn into a 3-man back line. I don't want the defense being left so exposed. So I think that I know people criticize some of the stuff that Osorio does. I am also not exactly the biggest fan of Reyes starting as defensive midfielder. I know, but he's clearly a big fan of that. But I will say that I do like it when someone like an Edson Alvarez, an Araujo, or Salcedo, when they do play that right back position, because I mean, like we're just talking about how high up Layun presses, that ends up turning into a 3-man back line anyways. Even if it's a 4-2-3, and if people are like, you know what, a 4-3-3 is better, 4-2-3-1 is better, Layun's going to start at left back or right back, and he's going to push it up high up the field. And it's probably going to feel more like a 3-4-3 again, just because of the how high pressing he is.
Well, that's what Osorio is trying to replicate in that sense with Edson Alvarez on one side and Layun, where it was against Iceland, where they knew they were going to stay back a little bit more, right? And I think that's where he studies the game a lot. Anybody stays back, you're going to want those wingers that are not wingers, because they're not going to come back and defend. They're going to go forward and even kind of towards the middle, almost as a Guardado when what he does when he doesn't defend and he's on the wing on both sides. And I think that's where Osorio is trying to do that, but I don't think we have the players. Edson doesn't play like that in Pumas. And Layun, I think, is probably the most versatile one that can, and you saw him score and you saw what he can do, but you play like that against Germany on that right side, or left side with those defenders coming back, and that's a counter, and you see so many goals being scored in that way. So I would still stay with the line of 4-3-3, continue what Mexico, what they've done, what they've played, and see how it goes. But Osorio's going to do whatever he needs to do and what he thinks he's going to do. Let's switch into guys. Can we be done with the Gouveia experiment? Are we done? I mean, no more. Great, we tried him out.
I thought it was gonna be our captain. I thought Gouveia was gonna be the captain against Germany.
Let's talk about those. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, probably wingers best.
Let's talk about those guys that, I mean, Eric Gutierrez, Jonathan Gonzalez, heck, Giovanni Dos Santos, Omar Gouveia, Jürgen Damm, Jesus Molina, Rodolfo Pizarro. In or out? I mean, did it give us a signal? Because for me, I finally gave him a chance. I wasn't okay with it with being called like a Gouveia at least. Everyone else, yes. But who out of those do you think still has a chance? I'll say right off the bat, I think Gio goes to the World Cup. It's and for so many different reasons. I can see him why people would not want him there, but I think Gio still goes. But to you guys, who's in and out? So let's talk about Eric Gutierrez.
It seems like an easy one out at this point. Not getting called into this latest call up. It doesn't seem like if you're not in this call up, you're not going to be in the final.
Yeah, I think we all agree there.
I say out as well. Just like exactly what Jason said. He hasn't been involved recently, and unless he does something like incredible and thrilling at the end of the season, I mean, I just don't see him there.
Yeah, Jonathan Gonzalez.
Out.
He was there.
I mean, he was there. He didn't, but he didn't get any minutes.
Any minutes, and that's really surprising. I mean, he even I thought he would get some minutes in the Santa Clara game. I mean, it's hometown.
Yeah,
right. He's there.
He's the youngest member of the roster, so I don't think he should feel too bothered by this. I mean, he just became relevant to Liga MX fans like a year ago, and now he's over here training with the national team. I still think this is it's a pretty big leap for him. So I mean, I say he's out, but I mean, credit to the guy for getting that call up.
It's just it just kind of, I question Osorio there, because if he's all about seeing players, if you play, that's fine, and you already start doing your 11 and whoever's going to play in the World Cup and get ready. I understand bring players and not play them, right? Because they got to be part of the team. They got to do that. But he brings in players like Gouveia and he gives them minutes, and that's where I just kind of go, okay. So are you going to give everybody minutes, which is great. I don't mind it, so we can see how everybody. But then some players didn't get minutes, like Jonathan Gonzalez, which I would think Jonathan Gonzalez is a little bit above some of those other players. So that's where I just kind of question. Maybe it could have been because of the injuries. I don't know. The guys got injured, and then he wanted to put Jonathan Gonzalez, but he also wanted to win the game or protect or at least not get scored on anymore. But at the same time, there are 6 subs. So I'm a little bit concerned with the fact that he didn't play. But I don't know if he's in or not. I mean,
seems like a definite out for me at this point, and not necessarily even just because he didn't play. I think just the injuries, the lack of like the meteoric rise that we had from Jonathan Gonzalez last season has tapered off. Not necessarily all his fault, but he needed that meteoric rise to continue to crack into the World Cup roster. It needed to keep going up and up and up, and it just it hasn't. I mean, I think it's done for now, but it's good. I think he's still in the roster. He's still part of the plans, and he's being kept close to this roster so that he is part of the plans moving forward after this World Cup. But it seems out to me at this point.
I mean, if I remember correctly, he's still only 18 years old. So it's kind of crazy to think that even if he misses out on this World Cup, he'll only be 22 or 23 by the time the next World Cup rolls around. And he'll still be fairly young at that point too. So I think we just need to be patient with him. And I think that, once again, I mean, this guy, I mean, we didn't really start talking about him until, I mean, the beginning of last summer. So he's still finding his feet. He's still finding his momentum and his rhythm over there in Liga MX. And credit to him for at least getting the call up.
I think he's in. I think.
Oh,
look out!
And I think because he didn't play him, I think he's like, well, it's like, here, be part of the squad. I don't see it, but I think Osorio's all of a sudden just going to be like, yep. Midfield, here we go. He plays Liga MX and brings him in just so we can have someone that's 18, right, and be a part of those like young FIFA watch out stars. They always have those. What the youngest players in the FIFA World Cup? I think Guardado was in 2006. That's like the last one. But we'll see. And the reason why I think he's in is because the other is one that I don't believe they're in. All right, Gio Santos, I believe he's in. We've had this discussion over and over and over. I think Cesar, you say he's in just because his brother will cry.
Those little things matter, man. I mean, we talk about it. We talk about the Countdown to Russia podcast, but like, clearly Gio dos Santos is not in a good run of form. Clearly, he's slow. I mean, he's just slowly losing his relevance to the national team. Can he still do something as a substitute? Maybe. Would I trust him? Probably not. But it sounds crazy, but just I do think when you think about, I don't know, just the mentality of the players. When you think about stuff off the field, when you think about how important it is to have this team going in as a unit. So I think that, I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if Gio gets the call, but I guess I wouldn't be that bothered if he gets the call up.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't get the call up.
I don't think he's going to. I think he's out.
Ooh, really? Okay.
I don't know. Osorio strikes me as someone who just doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care what, like, the convention and norms and what people in Mexico are going to say.
This is why I think he's bringing him. Because everybody does. Who wants Gio dos Santos in la selección right now?
Well, probably some of the establishment in Mexico, some of the powers that be, I would think, would want Gio there. I mean, yeah, the deep. No, I'm not even going to go there.
Soccer United Marketing wants him there, and that's why he'll be there.
Things like that, exactly. Where, you know, Osorio's not going to be swayed, and like, I don't think he has a lot to contribute on the field at this point. I think maybe Osorio realizes that too. I don't expect him to be there at this point. I'm not sure he has a lot to give, and
hold on. There is the what we would want, you know, to
yeah.
And then there's the what Osorio. I think Osorio takes him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is not going to give up on Gio, and unless there's some kind of bad injury or whatever, I think he goes. The experience that Gio brings, I understand that he hasn't been playing, but I think Osorio values that in what he's been doing since 2005, right? And that same group, Moreno, Vela, Gio, and I think he brings him in that even if he, unless he's super injured or something is off, but I think he still goes through.
Yeah, I think so too.
Would I take him? No.
Yeah.
But then I go, man, he was one of our best players in the last World Cup.
I mean,
all right.
I mean, there were a bunch of players who were pretty good for us back then too. I mean,
but they're all going to go. Who's not going to go from the World Cup from last 4 years ago?
Well, I mean, we're definitely not bringing Juan Carlos Medina, are we?
Don't rule it out.
Gullit Peña, I guess.
Pretty clearly out at this point. Yes.
Yeah.
No, there's a handful of players that would be far away.
All right, Omar Gobea, get him out.
How do you feel about Omar Gobea?
He's out.
It's unclear.
Yeah. He actually played well. He actually surprised me. I'm like, oh, that kid can run, and he actually did okay.
Did he send you like a really mean like DM or something? Be like, yo, I hate your show, dude.
It's
like,
because one time I messaged him and he messaged me back. No, I mean, I've been going back for 2 weeks, right? I'm like, why is he on the call up? I understand that we needed a ball boy when we were in Belgium and Gobea was 45 minutes away. I'm just kidding. I'm joking, but at the same time, I just don't think that he should have came all the way to Santa Clara and then Dallas. But I think he's out. What do you guys say? Is this going to be the Julian Green of Osorio?
I think he's out. I think that I mean, who knows what happened during the camp? Who knows what happened during the trainings? But I think it is big opportunity against Croatia. I think he was fairly disappointing. I think that he still has a lot to prove for the national team. This isn't a guy who's been there for a while. I know with Gio we can go back and forth, but at least that guy has a history with the national team and with a lot of the players. With Gobea, you're like, what? You can't really say a lot about the chemistry he has with the team because he's still fairly new. And I do think that I understand what Osorio's done by calling him up, giving those opportunities. I do think that it's cool for him to, really kind of reward a player who has taken a chance by going abroad, and I like that. I think that's a good decision. But I think if he's looking at this practically, and I do hope he's looking at this practically, I don't see Gobea even as much as a decent option off the bench. I see him as well. That you could say he'd be worthy of being in the top 28, which is why he got the call up recently. But would he be in the top 23? I don't think so. So I'm saying it's a no, and I'm hoping that's what Osorio does.
Is it 35 players that he'll call up, and then the official list goes to 28 for 5 injuries, and then 23?
I forget. Gotta look at that FIFA handbook that we're gonna be getting.
Yeah, I think I know there's for sure 28 that need to be called, that are 5 that are ready to go in case you could only sub until the first game, or even I gotta look at that FIFA handbook too. We did that like 4 years ago and try to figure out what the rules are. Jason Gobert.
I'd say out. Same reason as you guys. I just don't think he, he needed a big match or just a big showing in this break, and he didn't really have it. And I think it was always a pretty long shot. So I think there's others in the position that he's going to take in that stead. So I don't think it's going to go there.
Okay. Jürgen Damm didn't play, injured.
He's going. I don't think there's anything he could do that will stop Jürgen Damm from going to the World Cup. And I don't think he belongs in the roster, to be perfectly honest. But I think Osorio will take him to his dying days. I expect Jürgen Damm to be there.
He's not going to be his little capricho, like, I'm taking Jürgen Damm.
I think I like a lot of what Osorio does, but a couple things I don't like is the fact that he really has a thing for Gallardo and Damm, man. Like I don't know why Gallardo's still there. I don't know why Damm is still relevant. Is it as simple as Damm just being extremely fast, and he just thinks that if it'd be like a plan C and be like, all right, if we're losing the opposition is tired, just throw him on the wing and just give him some long crosses and see what happens. I don't know if it's as simple as that, but Osorio is definitely a big fan of Damm, and even though I wouldn't have him in the national team call-up, I think he'll be there.
Gallardo. I got confused with Edson Alvarez and Gallardo. My bad, guys. Earlier, I'm like, that's right. Damm is. I feel that it's gonna be. I'm with you guys right there. I think Osorio just brings him. I see what he does in Tigres sometimes, and I'm like, oh, good job. Like he surprises me, and then I see what he does in the national team. I'm like, yeah.
Well, even during those good moments with Tigres, it's like one good moment after like 5 bad decisions. And this isn't a kid anymore. This is a guy who's in his mid-20s now. So
is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. He's not a kid anymore. I was like 22.
No.
Oh man! All right, Jürgen Damm in for all of us because of Osorio. Okay, Jesus Molina. We don't have a lot in that position.
I think he's going at this point. I think he's the one that's going instead of Govea, instead of Jonathan Gonzalez. I think Molina is the one that is going to be brought in for his experience, for his. This is another player. He was in the last World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think he's someone that makes a lot of sense at this point. He's probably not going to get. I don't expect to see him against Germany or anything. But I think he'll be on that roster at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised if Molina goes but doesn't get a single minute of playing time.
Oh.
I think he's going to be one of those players that's going to sneak in at that very, 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 very last position. I think that Soto definitely, he seems to, I guess, like him a little bit. He's given him a couple of starts. I mean, he started in the Bosnia-Herzegovina game in January, and I don't think he started. No, he didn't start in any of the recent matches, but he was still a part of the call-up. So I think if he's looking for that true defensive midfielder, if he is going to bring one, it's probably going to be Molina. And yeah, I think he'll be that very, very, very last option that'll sneak into a plane to Russia.
Jesus Molina, I mean, he's been in the national team a lot. I mean, he is and he hasn't. I'm trying to figure out if he was there in 2010. Don't remember.
Yeah. He's just always been that backup option. Yeah.
The way that I see Molina is we still are trying to find that position.
Yeah.
And there isn't anybody that.
We are, but I don't know if I think Osorio's.
So found him.
He's set.
Reyes is still on the roster.
Right. Reyes. Yeah, you're right. Reyes for him is that defensive mid. Oh man. All right. Last but not least, Rodolfo Pizarro.
This is the toughest one for me. I don't know. I think is my answer. I'm inclined to say yes, and like before this is what really changed for me during especially that Croatia match, because I think before this past weekend I was like, yes, absolutely, he's in this World Cup roster, he's going to be there 100%, and now I'm just like, well, I don't know, like that was like a really not a great showing there versus Croatia. And I'm a little concerned. I'm still going to say that he is in because I don't think Osorio will be that swayed by 45 minutes against Croatia in a friendly. And I think he has shown more than enough in league play. And honestly, I think with the national team prior to this break, I think he's displayed enough to be called into this roster. So I'm going to say yes, but I don't have a ton of confidence in it at this point.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm still completely unsure because, of course, you see him in the Croatia game, you're like, I don't know how I feel about this guy. And then you see him play, like just a few days later for Chivas, and you're just like, wow, this guy's incredible. If he's going to be calling up some Liga MX names, he has to include Pizarro as well. I'm unsure as well. And I'm going to stick, I think I'll go slightly no. Just slight because a slight no. If Jason's gonna be a slight yes, I'm gonna say a slight no. I just don't think that he has. I think that if Osorio's looking for that center attacking midfielder, I think he's gonna be looking for Fabian, and I think he's gonna be looking for Vela. And after that, I just don't think that there's any space for Pizarro in that 11. Someone could say like, well, what about the options on the wings? But the wings are stacked right now. They're very, 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 very stacked. So I think even if he has a good season, I don't know. I mean, does he deserve a spot in the World Cup? I mean, if he continues what he did last Friday with Chivas, then obviously yes. But will he be there? I don't know. I'm still very unsure, but I'm going with a slight no.
I think he's going because I think other players haven't also stepped up. In, for example, Tecatito. When was the last time Tecatito had a good game?
Yeah,
anywhere.
But obviously Tecatito's going to get the call.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's going over, but I think that's when he goes, okay, we might be stacked on the wings, but are they, I feel like Pizarro could sneak in there because of what he has been performing for his club. I know it's Chivas, I know it's Liga MX, but what other guys on the wings that does he have as options that are doing well, especially on the right side?
You could bring in Elias Hernandez.
Yeah, but I don't think he likes Elias Hernandez. He doesn't like anybody from Leon. That's what I just realized. We're not taking anybody from Leon. But yeah, so anybody else? I think he sneaks in. I think Pizarro sneaks in.
I mean, someone Carry Análisis Deportivo said Dueñas to consider. Maybe he's still in the running. Maybe if you're looking for that defensive midfielder. I know he's not like a true defensive. I mean, I guess he's a versatile player, so maybe that's not his best position. But I think I guess I would be a little surprised if he was to somehow find a way into the roster. I don't think he will, but it wouldn't be the biggest shock if somehow Dueñas was to get a spot there.
Yeah, Dueñas.
I mean, if you weren't in the last few call-ups at this point,
yeah,
the number of names that were in there, it's hard to sneak in, I think.
True.
I mean, there's really nobody else as far as defensive mids. I mean, that we think that should be there or is trying to be there or can be there, I guess. And he's still experimenting with the others. So I know I saw Diego Lainez somewhere around there. And,
one for the future. You never know.
Yeah, but we'll see where that goes. All right, guys. Anybody else? I mean, I think because they weren't called, they're probably done. That's it. I think he's telling us who. And from what reports say is that the list is pretty much already made. There's maybe like one or two that are not certain and due to injuries we'll bring in, but I don't really see anybody else. It's not going to be such a huge list as far as that. So no more international friendlies as far as FIFA friendlies from when they're in. Now the next games are in LA versus Wales.
Yeah, May 28th, and then after that against Scotland.
And Scotland in Mexico City. I don't think that Wales game is going to be that great. I don't think Bale's coming. Even though Mexico will have its full squad because the camp will probably start because it's not a FIFA date.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most exciting opponents. I mean, you look at it's going to be Wales, Scotland, and apparently Denmark. It's
Denmark will be good.
Yeah, I mean,
Denmark,
in preparation for the World Cup. I don't know. I mean, that's not exactly the most exciting setup. I mean, look at the last. The 5 games that Mexico's going to go into this World Cup against. So it's going to be Croatia. So it's going to be Iceland, Croatia, Wales, Scotland, Denmark.
They're not terrible.
They're not. I mean, but just
they're not. But at the same time, we've had. I don't know. I think look at those types of teams, and I think that's where the Sweden and Korea teams are. He's looking at to go against, because it's Germany. Who are you going to play to prepare for against Germany? You know what I mean? I think, and I'm not saying that it's already lost, but those teams that are there, those 5 teams, you know, from Bosnia, Croatia, and, you know, Wales, Scotland, they're teams that we don't face, especially the Scotland, the Wales. You know, they're fast. They have that English kind of football type, you know, where we're going to see Sweden. And I think that's what they're banking on. And I'll get that. Now, aside from that, you know, I would love to see, you know, a player like, you know, Gareth Bale there on that LA game, which I think he's not going from what we keep seeing, because it's not a FIFA date. And but hey, they're not horrible. We would love to see the Brazils, the Germany, the England, and whatever. But I mean, we've had great preparations before against teams like Italy. But you know, where has it gotten us? So I'm just a little mad that Costa Rica got England and we couldn't because of contract stuff. But maybe the morale, maybe we get those 2 wins going in with a positive, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't think any news on when the actual call up. I think FIFA, I think the 30 or the 30 to 20. We'll read the rules to see when those call ups, because those games are gonna start coming. We'll come back later, but those games are gonna come by quick. So just the month of April, and then
we'll email Infantino. We'll be like, hey man, how you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. Happy Cesar Chavez Day, by the way. So how many players do we have to call? Yeah, we'll send an email.
Good. All right. Any last thoughts on the friendlies? Anything else that you wrote down? Do you want to get to mention? I think that's it. No.
I feel like we covered it.
I feel like I've been bummed out during the last 30 minutes. So I'm done like talk about L3 now. Since that injury to Araujo, like L3 is just like
it's affected the Mexican soccer show, that injury. So
it has affected us too. Exactly. Yeah. I'm just feeling so sad right now. I'm feeling so bummed out about the World Cup. That is until we beat England 10-0, and then I'll feel great, and then I'll be telling people that we're going to win it all.
Where are we playing?
Or Wales.
I was like, what?
It's all the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same. All right. Quick plug for our CTR. If you don't know what CTR stands for in the Mexican Soccer Show, it stands for Countdown to Russia, Patreon. It's cool service. You can a way to support us and getting a little bit extra. There's some shirts. There's some extra content that you get as a supporter. So go to our Patreon / Mexican Soccer Show, and you're able to see if you haven't subscribed. If you have, definitely
enjoy the interviews that like Tom put out there with Osvaldo Sanchez. He also put up interviews with La Volpe. Sometimes we'll sneak at like random little quick shows, and but yeah, it's all the stuff that we don't have time for. We fit for our Patreon users right there. We got to bring back a Liga MX and Chill. I feel like it's been a couple weeks since we haven't done a Liga MX and Chill.
Liga MX and Chill is going to come back. Hopefully, you know. So there's just a bunch of extra stuff. So please, if you're a supporter and you're listening to us, tweet at us, or on Facebook, let us know. Hey, I'm listening to you guys right now. We'll give you guys a shout out. So, and then some of the Patreon's supporters get their questions answered on the air, and also get invited to one of the Mexican Soccer Shows. So if you ever wanted to be in the Mexican Soccer Show, right, be a part of this relajo. I was going to say desmadre, but I'll say relajo. There's a chance for you to get on there. So that's our plug. Let's switch into the probably most talked Mexican soccer topic, which was the much expected Los Angeles Tráfico. Which let me just start right there. I thought the name was kind of bad. And I know a lot of people are. Yeah,
I love it, man. It's great.
I believe that to non-Spanish speakers, even though in Cesar, I'm not saying that you're not. I feel like El Tráfico, because it sounds like El Clásico, but we think El Tráfico is a normal word. Yeah. So I don't think that was that funny. I'm sorry. And but then I said it to one of my friends, like, "Oh, that's hilarious! I love it! Like El Clásico, but because of traffic, it's El Tráfico." And I'm like,
there was traffic on the way to the game.
When is there never traffic in LA?
No,
so there's
always
traffic.
That's true.
But Cesar, you were there at the game. You got a chance to go. Tom was there. Amy was there. A lot of people were there. There was a ton of media, and they wanted to see, obviously, You know, which was going to be finally two Mexican players and either team, LA coming together. About a month ago, I'm like, okay, I think I want to go to that game. I think it's going to be good. Gio versus Vela, the Dos Santos brother versus Vela. I think it's going to be great. Obviously, the Santos brothers ruined the party, not only in Mexico, but also for LA. Carlos Vela starts things off with a golazo. And I will say, I know you guys are going to hate me. For those of you that love Zlatan, whatever he says, and you know this guy can walk on water and he's God to everybody. But I thought Vela's goal was better than Zlatan's first goal.
No,
I know what Zlatan.
I mean, they're all golazos, man. They're all golazos.
I know what Zlatan. I know that what he means, and he comes in and the power of it. But if I just go with I really thought Vela's goal. I haven't seen a goal like that from Vela in a long. Like I was really more excited about that goal. Zlatan, I've seen him do it all the time. And in that sense,
we're all clearly biased because we focus on Mexican soccer. So of course, a big thing that we want to talk about is Vela, but I do believe that that no one is really talking about him enough after that match and what he's really done with LAFC so far this season. Of course, even if Zlatan didn't score any goals, if Zlatan just stepped on the field, of course that would be the talking point. It's Zlatan. When I was at the press conference after the match, it was easily like 100-something people in the press conference just listening to Zlatan talk. I mean, that's the kind of weight that Zlatan has. But yeah, let's not take away the fact that Vela had a very good game for LAFC. That he continues to do very well in that number 10 position, and I've written about it before. I know you can't really compare what he does for LAFC in comparison to what he could potentially do with El Tri. It's completely a different situation. But I do think that if Mexico needs a number 10, I think it's either between him or Fabian, and I think that Vela would do a good job. And I think the more I think about it, the more I think about Tecatito on one wing, the more I think about Chucky on one wing, Vela right behind Chicharito, and I feel like you could do a lot of damage there. And if Tecatito's having a bad game, they move Vela over to the right wing, and you bring in Fabian as a center attacking midfielder. Let's just say it's working with a 4-2-3-1 right there. So I think
see him as a 10. I can see him. He can do that role, that thick, but I don't see him as a 10 as much.
Yeah, but I think just focusing on that game, Osorio was in the stands.
Yeah,
he was watching the match. So I do wonder what was going on in Osorio's mind while he was watching Vela playing that position. Once again, I know Zlatan was the man of the match, but if you guys haven't seen the goals from Vela, just right after the show, just go watch them right now. It just shows, and it's a stark contrast. I know that Gio is injured, but it's a stark contrast to just how bad Gio has been for the Galaxy. Like what Vela is doing for LAFC, that's what Gio should be doing for the Galaxy. I know he couldn't play in the last game. He's only played 2 matches so far this season, but Gio's been immensely disappointing. And just Vela, I think with Major League Soccer, a lot of us aren't exactly that excited when players go over there. But if they do go, you want them to be playing at a level that Vela's at. That's the least that he could be doing. I think he's following through with those lofty expectations.
I feel the exact same way. Where certainly when he moved there, when Vela had this move, and certainly the World Cup year, all of that downtime with Sociedad before he moved to LAFC. And just the preseason and just the lack of competitive matches left me kind of bummed out for Vela heading into the World Cup. But he's gone there and to MLS, where we weren't necessarily super excited about him playing at MLS and leaving La Liga. But he's going there and he's playing so well, right? He's just excelling, and that's what you want to see. Okay, if you're moving to MLS, you're getting the big paycheck. That's great. But go there and dominate. Go there and play so well, and that's what he's doing. He's taking advantage of this opportunity, and it's fantastic. It's great for him. You have to imagine his confidence is pretty high at this point with the way he's playing, and he's in great form at this point. So no matter the league he's playing in at this point, he's playing at a high level, and it's really a positive for Mexico.
Yeah,
Vela has more goals than Zlatan this season. I'll call him. starting after this game, they both have 2. We'll count. We'll keep a count. We'll see how many that is.
MLS Twitter is absolutely insufferable at this point with the Zlatan stuff. Like it was have to start filtering it out because it's just out.
It was perfect.
It was crazy.
The way it came in. But it was just of course he did it. I'm not hating on Zlatan at all. He took it. He did everything, and the fact that we're talking about him in the Mexican Soccer Show just shows that.
I mean, I went to go hang. I went to go watch a Xolos game yesterday. I went to go watch like a local Xolos supporters group. Like, all right, let's watch Veracruz with Xolos. 70% of the game, we're just be like, oh, Zlatan, right? Like, yeah, Zlatan. It was just like that's all.
And you have to you got to go like, wow, he's the way he speaks, and then he shows up for it. But at the same time, it's like, can you imagine any Mexican player acting the way Zlatan does, and just press will eat him up, or heck, Neri Castillo tried to have an attitude and people killed the way he has an attitude or the way he has. And I get it. He does it because he shows up, but yeah, it's funny. Like even the press, because I was watching a live of the press, and I mean, I've never seen a guy get treated so like heavenly. I mean, the guy could say anything and everyone's like, oh, it's just Zlatan, right? We'll see how it goes. But I share with you, Carlos Vela doing amazing things. We had that discussion, Jason, I think last week, was it? Where, is he the most talented Mexican player right now as far as talent? And
definitely 1 week.
Yeah, yes. One of those. And you're showing it. And I thought that golazo when it's like he got the ball and he just curved it in there, and it was beautiful to see something like that. I mean, it was messy like almost.
But once again, it's still very early in the season.
Yeah,
it's still very, very early in the season. I think Vela deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. I think Vela deserves more attention for what he did in that match, because everyone's still talking about Zlatan when they should be giving Vela more credit. But I mean, you do have to be cautious with Vela, because I wrote about this too. I bet there's a lot of Real Sociedad fans who would say that, you know what, like he's given us moments of brilliance too, and then he's just been completely inconsistent. So I think that's something to keep in mind. And he's still, I mean, the World Cup isn't starting next week. He's still got some time to go. He's still got, I think, regardless of the fact that he has 3 goals and 2 assists and 4 matches. Either way, a fantastic start to the season. I mean, he still has a lot to prove this season. And the Dos Santos brothers have even more to prove. They're
celebrating. His celebrations are good.
The Dos Santos brothers or Vela?
So the Dos Santos brothers are they're excited when Zlatan scored. Hey,
they have the time of their lives in LA, man.
That was Eder Dos Santos holding the camera, right? Because I'm like, Gio has changed a lot. Because I really thought it was like Gio and Jonas.
Let yourself go, man.
I'm like, Gio and Jonah celebrating. I'm like, dang, Gio, what happened? No, okay. It's his older brother.
Yeah, it's the old, it's the forgotten Dos Santos brother.
Eder Dos Santos.
Yeah,
the forgotten Dos Bros. It's like, hey, there's Dos Bros, not Tres Bros. That's how it is. Okay, we talked about Zlatan, and it said right here, Carlos Vela, only 10 minutes, but we kept a little more because I was in there. Really quick, asking from Jason for a friend. Vela starting against Germany. Everybody votes yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Lock it down.
So are you hearing? Put him in there. Put him in the 11.
My question to you guys is, and I know we didn't talk about El Tri, but Chicharito in there. It's kind of funny how, I mean, maybe with the injuries, but I don't know. I just didn't see the same Chicharito on the friendly. On the last match against Croatia, maybe who really shone. There was really nobody that really did anything good. But when was the last time Cheech had a good game?
I just think just what Cheech kind of like symbolizes for the national team. I just think that we all know, even if he has a really bad run of form, I would even be tempted to say if he doesn't get any goals leading up to the World Cup, I feel like I would still put that trust in him.
100 caps.
I would still put that trust in him to be Mexico's starting striker. I know Raul Jimenez is doing some good things, but he's playing as a backup role, with Benfica. I know we're going to talk about him in a little bit, but I would still have full trust in Chicharito.
Yeah,
if he had someone behind him pushing him, right? Yeah. There isn't really someone pushing for that spot. I mean, you either play with him or you play without. You play without a number 9. I mean, I love Raul Jimenez. He's one of my favorite players, but like he's not getting the time. Like, he's not in a great position with Benfica, and he's not capitalizing on what he has. I mean, the small amount of time he is playing very well, but it's just not enough time, and he's not in a position to push Chicharito out of that spot.
Yeah, agreed.
I go Chicharito, Raul, Vela, Chucky. Starting for Germany.
I think you got go with a 4-2-3-1. Have like Guardado and Herrera doing like not just one defensive midfielder. You have the two of them doing a lot of defensive work. And then Tecatito and Chucky on the wings, Vela right behind Chicharito, and see what you can do there, at least with some counters.
I don't think.
That would be beautiful.
I don't think Tecatito
It's not gonna happen.
start
That'd be
11.
awesome.
All right. Okay. Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, we talked about like going and.
Wait, I think Raul has a lot of talent matching Vela.
I mean, Raul's like one of those guys that, for me, I just every year I'm waiting for him just to absolutely explode because he's overwhelming with talent. Like, he's so good. He has like such a wide skill set of abilities for that position where he can play so many different ways. Like, he's just good. And like that, I mean, we talked earlier about like going and checking out the clips of Vela's goal. If you haven't seen Raul's assist this weekend, like, you have to go watch that.
Rabona. What is that called in English, by the way? Is that like, is there like a name for it?
Rabona. I think that's how you'd say it.
I don't know. It was Amy text me saying, what is that called? And I'm like, Rabona?
That's Rabona, yeah.
I don't know. Just that's how I know it. Like, is there?
I think everyone knows it as Rabona. I think even in the English speaker world, I feel like that's still Rabona.
All right, would you guys tell us what is there a name for it? Because I don't know.
Just make them up. Actually,
we'll call it the.
Yeah, we'll call it the Raul Jimenez. Officially, it's the Raul Jimenez now.
the Raul kick. No, Ronaldo does it, doesn't he? He does it a lot. We've seen a lot of players do it. But anyway, yeah, no, that talent is there, and great assist. I think doesn't Raul have the most goals in Europe this season?
For the Mexicans? No,
yeah.
that's
Is it Chucky? Is it
Chucky? By far, Chucky.
Are you sure by far? Someone check on that.
And shoulders just like above everyone
Chucky's
else.
Got what? 13, 14? 13?
600.
I don't know. A lot more than everyone else. I
feel like Raul's up there, like in the 9s or 10s. No,
Raul only has 4 goals, but he has 5 assists.
Oh, why do I keep thinking he's got a lot more goals?
Yeah,
we still making up stats again.
But yeah, it's all the talent, man. I'm telling you, he should have more goals.
I just thought he scored like 2 goals after like the 90th minute, and like in a lot of matches.
At least in league play, I don't think he's gotten anything. If he has had some goals in other competitions, whether it be the Taça da Liga or Taça de Portugal, whatever, like maybe he's gotten a couple goals there. But no, I think Chucky is head and shoulders above him. Yeah. But I did think that it was kind of interesting that there was this guy David Pritchett who covers Portuguese soccer, and I did get those stats from him. You know, he said that Jimenez has 4 goals and 5 assists in 219 minutes of league play. I mean, that's
those Chicharito numbers.
Those, I mean, I've said this before. Raul Jimenez is the new super sub. It's not Chicharito. Chicharito's not the super sub anymore. It's Raul Jimenez, and I think that he's probably going to continue to play that same role with El Tri too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's. I don't know. I think he starts. I think he starts against Germany. Just because what he can bring.
I mean, he can also start on the wing too.
And because he defends. And because he's tall and he jumps. And Osorio, what I saw against Iceland, Raul going defending on the penalty and trying to get back. It's like he can pass it to himself. We'll see where that goes. All right. So let's Raul Jimenez. We're there. We only got about maybe 5 minutes. But Liga MX is back. El Clásico Joven, everyone's just talking all about it. Let's kind of go around. What are the highlights of Liga MX this weekend, boys?
The Clásico Joven on Saturday night. A bit of a disappointment, at least on my end. As a Cruz Azul fan, it didn't really work out the way I would like. And the match was kind of a bit sluggish, to be honest, too. But it wasn't one of those rivalry matches where the team that is down and out, as Cruz Azul have come in and kind of play up to their opponent that's been a lot better. America just kind of dominated that match. The scoreline wasn't necessarily a huge difference with Cruz Azul scoring first, America coming back in 2 goals, but America were clearly the superior team and then showed that. So it wasn't a great match, but a high-profile match in America looking pretty strong at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, for me, it was one of the things that stood out to me was just a 4-1 win for Tigres over León. I think we all could have predicted that what Tigres are doing now, it's just been I mean, it isn't that surprising where it was almost the preseason was the first few weeks of the season. They start to find their form. And then right around playoff time, that's when they really start finding the rhythm, start finding that momentum. Because right now they're undefeated in 8 matches. I mean, they've moved. They're back in 3rd place now. So suddenly, I mean, once again, as long as they make it into the playoffs, I mean, they're going to be a title contender. And it was inevitable. It was only a matter of time before they got a result like this where they're scoring multiple goals against the Liga MX side. So I think that stood out to me. I think that it's only going to get, I mean, once again, like we've talked about, I mean, they're finding their momentum and they're probably going to charge into this playoff, into the playoffs. I mean, potentially even at first place. They're only 2 points behind the Luca right now. So let's see what happens with Tigres.
Interesting to see what happens with Tigres. I'm still waiting for that Landon Donovan goal. I mean,
he scored against the Earthquakes. Scored against the Earthquakes in a friendly in a Via Stadium.
Oh, funny. Not a lot. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because he gets to start, and I'm like, all right, and it's against Tigres, and we just get killed. We as a Leon, obviously, as everyone knows,
And it's part of the family now, right? Yeah,
okay. At what point do you just get a? I mean, what is he doing? All right. Monterrey wins at Pachuca. Santos lose in Guadalajara. Against Atlas, and Chivas get a win against Morelia.
Chivas back in the back in the Liguilla hunt at this point.
I think even like what 2 weeks was like Chivas needs to win or they're out of it, and every week Chivas needs to win or they're out of it, or not lose. And then this one, Chivas needs to win and they get it. So next match, Chivas needs to win. Chivas needs to win as many games as possible. This just comes down to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at the standings, I mean, it's
2 points.
Yeah, 2 points. Of course, I mean, if you're Chivas, if you're Almeida, then your focus should be the CCL right now, because more than likely you'll probably have a better chance of getting that CCL title than getting the league title. I mean, you can see that too with some of the backups they had in that Chivas roster. When you see 3 different players with triple-digit jerseys, then you know that they're resting. Yeah, they're resting a few of those starters. But credit to Chivas, credit to Pizarro too. I mean, just a game changer for Chivas. Now, I think a lot of Chivas fans will say that even when that team has been horrible, that Pizarro has been that one bright light for the team. So credit to him, and if he keeps that up, I mean, we'll see. Maybe he will be in that final 23.
We'll see where that goes. All right, you mentioned it a little bit. Toronto to host America in the first leg of the CONCACAF Champions League semifinal. The champions of CONCACAF.
The more important champions.
Chivas. The CONCACAF champions. Chivas host the New York Red Bulls in the first leg of Wednesday night. Could we have a Clásico Nacional / CONCACAF Champions League final? Right, still a Clásico Nacional, even though it's not for Mexico, right? That's still the rule. That's the rule. Yeah. So even if Barca and Real Madrid face in the Champions League final, it's still a Clásico.
That's correct.
Okay, just checking that. By the way, it is Rabona, I guess. They Google Translate said Rabona.
Well, if Google Translate said it, then
according to the chat. If you're not on the chat, get to the chat. Everyone is having a good conversation.
We could have a Clásico Nacional final in CONCACAF Champions League, and honestly, we could have an all MLS CONCACAF Champions League. Like, it's possible at this point. Like, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing. If you said at the beginning of the tournament, it would have been shocking.
MLS winning?
Toronto's been playing and the way Red Bulls have been playing in this tournament, like it wouldn't just surprise me all that much at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Chivas are certainly beatable. Red Bulls, I mean, just the way they took apart Cholos, and Cholos are having some problems in the league right now, but the way Red Bulls took them apart up in New York, it really said something. And Toronto are just a strong team. I mean, America are better. Don't get me wrong, but Toronto could get the result and get through. So, and it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. I still expect it to be a Clásico Nacional final.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Should be interesting.
I've talked to like a few different people about this too, and it's exactly the same thing that Jason said. Where it's just like, yeah, it could be Major League Soccer. I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto went through. We saw what happened in the series against Tigres. You see the capability of a player like Giovinco, just the magic that player can create. You look at just the form that Red Bulls are in the Champions League. You see key players like Luis Robles and Bradley Wright Phillips stepping up, and against the Chivas side, which have been a little, I don't know, you can't put too much faith in them. Even if they put all their energy to the CCL, you're still unsure. But despite all of that, I do. If someone asked me like, all right, so what's the final? I'm still gonna say it's gonna be Chivas America. But but let's not. I mean, once again, but let's not. I don't know. Let's not think that's gonna be easy for them. I guess that's in the end. I think that the two semis are going to be a lot more complicated than Liga MX fans think they're going to be.
I believe that it will be a Clásico Nacional for the fact that the only reason, not the only, but I think Tigres didn't prepare well. I think they thought they were going to walk through, and I believe we're taking that, and I think I really do think Almeida is the only way to, salvage anything out about this season if they don't make it to the Liguilla, is winning the CONCACAF Champions. And I think Piojo really wants to win that CONCACAF. So I think they're looking forward to these games, and I think they're going to go full out, like if it's a final, and because they've seen what these guys can do, and they're not. I mean, look at the last round. I think that's where nobody was expecting Tigres to lose. Nobody was, So
Piojo's going to win the CCL title. After that, they're going to fire Osorio. Then Piojo gets the job.
Then brings America players to.
It's all coming up, Piojo.
There you go. Bring the same exact players that face New Zealand. Let's do it. Let's bring Topo. Let's just bring up the entire back line.
Topo, yeah. Hey, they did the job. I was thinking about that match. I was thinking of man, we gave what is the guy that got hurt? Aguilar, right? We were always like, Aguilar. Man, I wish we had a player like Aguilar back in the squad. What he was doing. I think we didn't have to worry about that. How long did he have that spot? I liked him. We didn't have to worry about that spot.
Ball Aguilar? Nah, dude, I don't know.
Yeah,
I never
in his prime.
A liability, yeah, in his prime, but it's just.
No, I'm just saying.
You either have Layun or you have Aguilar. You can't have both because then our defense is going to get.
Someone has to defend.
How long did Layun? I mean, and then we'll give how long did Aguilar had played. I mean, I felt like we never.
It's a wingback. He's a wingback.
Yeah, it's Layun or Aguilar, and I take Layun. And if we have both, then we're going to allow 18 goals from Germany in that first match. If we would have both those defenders there.
Brazil didn't score on us. Croatia.
Yeah, but
slightly lucky that Brazil didn't score a lot of goals.
Yeah, I felt like a goalkeeper had a decent match against Brazil. I forget.
Holanda didn't score because of Layun and Aguilar.
No. I still think he would be a huge liability in defense.
Torres Nilo, fine, okay, fine. That's what you wanted.
Torres Nilo, Shaka, boom, we're set. We're all right.
We want to talk. All right, guys. I know we went a little bit over time, but thank you to everybody who was on the chat. A great discussion. Saying hello to everybody that's there, especially Javier Hernandez, Scotty, Annalise Deportivo, Luis Eol. That's a lot of E's. Stop. If you're not part of it, make sure if you're listening to us, tweet at us, tell us, hey, you were listening to us, and take a picture. If you're listening to us on iTunes, definitely give us any reviews. Have anybody checked if we got any more reviews? Guys, you're supposed to.
Should they take a picture? You mean take a picture of us? I don't want.
No, take a picture of maybe like where you're watching, and then tweet at us. All right,
it's gonna take a picture like one of my eyes is like half closed. I'm gonna like look like that, and it's gonna be like Jason will be like sneezing or something. It's gonna look terrible.
There you go. Do it. Catches. Here we go. Catches our worst moments and tweet at us and see how that goes. All right, guys. Tom is somewhere in LA. I've been following his Instagram stories, and he's downtown. So
it's too good for us, man.
Somebody go get him a beer or something.
I don't know. He went to a Dodgers game after the Tráfico game. That guy. He's doing baseball commentary now. If you didn't know, he's switching. So not true.
He went as a fan to El Tráfico, so I think he's just a hardcore Galaxy fan now. I think he's just like hanging out with
hardcore LA fan.
Yeah, he's with he's hanging out with the ultras somewhere, like making a tifo for Zlatan. I think that's what he's doing right now.
Comes in. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Monday. Stay tuned for the CTR podcast that's coming up Wednesday, Thursday. When did you usually drop, Cesar?
Usually, because Tom was traveling, it was kind of wacky and weird. So we doing like 2 like quick ones. But this one, yeah, like usual, it's be back to normal schedule. We'll be recording Wednesday and then posting it on Thursday.
Perfect. That's all podcast. That's not video. And we'll continue to have fun here on the show. I know saying hi to Adrian Terrazas, also our members taking the night off, and obviously big thank you to Miss Amy Lopez, who is always tweeting and she's doing all the behind the scenes stuff. So keep it up, Amy.
Also, we should say that our big shout out to Naib Moran, who's Villanova Wildcats about to win the national championship.
Oh,
are they gonna win?
Happy Naib right now. Yeah.
Shout out to Naive. I'm happy.
I have a Villanova shirt. I should have worn it.
I had them as a champions in my bracket, so that's pretty dope.
Totally forgot about that.
You're a winner too, Cesar.
Yes.
All right. Did they get the win? I'm looking at it right now. Oh,
There's like 3 minutes left, but they're up 20.
My goodness.
All right, let's go. Close the show. Stop.
All right, guys. Watch Villanova win. Here you go. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hasta la próxima.